here we have FSU coming to Tiger Town. Dallas Sweeney, he didn't go to the grocery store to find a kicker. Instead, he went to Charleston. I mean, there is so much to talk about here on the All Clemson Tiger Show. Jason Priester, I am Zach Lentz, and we want your comments. You can even text us or call in, and we'll get you on the air. So, Jason, I mean, how excited are you for this week's game? This is, this is the game of the year in the ACC so far. You have unranked Clemson, fourth ranked FSU coming to town. And look, the facts are simple. Clemson loses this game, and they are not playing in Charlotte in early December.
Oh yeah, this is a gigantic game. For the rest of the season, and it'll be a telltale sign for how the rest of the season is going to play out. I'm trying to think back to the last time we had a game of this magnitude this early in the season in Death Valley. It's been a while. It's been a long, it felt like it's been a while. The Clemson, I know they dropped a couple of games early, a couple of years ago with DJ at quarterback. This kind of feels different, though. This feels different. This feels like, a program that kind of needs to go out and make a statement nationally to kind of prove they're still relevant, or either they're going to prove some of the talking heads right, that they've kind of fallen off a little bit. I think this is a huge game for not just ACC implications, playoff implications, but I think it's a huge game from a national perception standpoint as well.
Yeah. Sorry, I am just texting here with the guy that he those hats like you're wearing. He has some coming that we are going to give away this week at Magnetic South. So let me see. I'll actually see if I can show these to you. Can y'all see that?
Yeah, oh yeah, I like that.
Yeah. And then there is so yeah. Yeah, I completely agree. This is, arguably, you can go back to Lamar Jackson, that game. This game just feels like everything is on the line. I you have an FSU team who just struggled with an awful, terrible team last week. And I think, I heard you on the show last night saying that you think they could have possibly been looking ahead this week. Not sure.
I don't know. I just say it's a possibility. I don't know. I mean, they seem to start slow, kind of got it going, and then they started making some of those Clemson-esque mistakes where they start shooting themselves in the foot and letting Boston College back into it after they jumped up 31-10.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, that that Boston College is actually able to exploit some of the things that Florida State isn't very good at. I mean, they ran the ball very well against them, and and, and just when you look at the stats aren't good. And Jordan Travis, I know this is not throwing shoulder. I know that like Norvell has said, he is going to be ready to go this week. Even that non-throwing shoulder, if you're a right hander, you're still pulling down when you throw the eagle. That's how you get your power. It's a lot like a uh, pitcher in baseball, where he snaps that glove out. So, you know, if you're close, then you have to think that you're going to get as many legal shots on him as you can and really see how he looks. Because Florida State, you know, they go as Travis goes, and so that injury could prove to be very, very, large in the scheme of the game. Yeah,
Absolutely, absolutely. We saw everybody saw how much pain he was in when he went down. Um, I know they numbed it up and all that, but I saw how much pain he was in. There's no way he's going to be fully recovered from that thing come Saturday.
mm,
Sure, he'll be able to play, but it's going to impact some things they can do. They're going to have to try and protect him a little more than they otherwise would have. Maybe limit what he does in the running game. Maybe even have to leave some backs in to kind of help protect a little bit rather than putting them out in the flat where we've seen the Clemson defense struggle at times covering backs in the flat and the wheel route. And um, but you also touched on another thing about Boston College being able to run on them, and it was particularly with that quarterback. They killed
uh,
Boston College's quarterback, killed him with his legs. And that's something that Clemson is going to have to do Saturday. Cade Klubman is going to have to be a factor in the running game.
yeah, yeah. We have not seen him really keep the ball on those read option plays yet this season, and I think that is going to be crucial for this game. Is he is going to have to make those ends, commit, you know, one way or the other, and they if they can't, he'll have to pull it and run.
Yeah, I think this is one of those games he's got to run the ball 10, 12, 15 times. He's got to be a factor in the running game. You have to make them account for him. And he is the kind of guy that can hurt you with his legs. I mean, he's
Yeah,
probably one of the faster guys. He's probably one of the fastest guys on the offense, you know, maybe even the whole team. We saw how fast he ran that guy down. I forget what game it was, but the game he tracked the guy down from behind and he was
yeah,
clocked at 21.6 or 21.8 miles an hour. I mean, he's
yeah,
got some wheels, and they need to take advantage of that and use it to their. They need to take advantage of that and use it to their liking on Saturday.
yeah. That is Jason Priester's speed there.
Maybe 30 years ago. Maybe
But
30 years ago.
yeah, yeah. So the thing is, this game, you know, has all the makings of a grudge match that is going 4 quarters. You know, I have yet to, you know, finalize my prediction because we don't have to have those in until Friday. And honestly, it's one of those things where the more I think about it, that Dallas seems to have a little bit of confidence, like he's got something up his sleeve for this game. You know, today in his press conference, he's extremely laid back. He was very, like we have talked about before, you know, it's not so much what he says, but how he says it, and also, his mannerisms. And I think this is this is a very relaxed out. I think he likes what he's seen out of his offense last two games. You know, they, they are starting to gel. They're starting to put some things together. You're starting to see a little bit more of the eye candy and the different formations. And I think that is stuff that he knows. Look, we have not even come close to tapping our uh, the potential of this offense. I think back to the last game against FAU, and they actually had a formation I had never seen before. And they had trips to one side and a in the uh, like a lunch formation, had a receiver out on the other side. So basically, you had cause to one side and a single receiver on the other. Yeah, that was something that, like you mentioned last week, you were anxious to see, if Garrett Riley was going to throw some stuff on the film just to give FSU, something else to look at. But the fact that we're starting to see some more of this eye candy, a little bit more of the ocean stuff. I think that would feel sneaky good about this game.
Yeah, I agree. I thought we saw a confident, laid back, jovial Dabo Sweeney today. Let's use that word, jovial, in a very good mood. Very very laid back for a game of this magnitude. That I think that bodes well. I think that's a good sign. The absolute don't mistake what I'm saying. Doesn't guarantee Clemson's going to win Saturday, but I think I'm with you. I think he feels really good about where this team is, the steps the offense is taking since that loss in Durham. And let's be honest, they have taken big steps the past 2 weeks. They came out firing on all cylinders last week against Florida Atlantic. They had not done that in the previous 2 weeks. That was something I think all of us wanted to see, come out firing from the opening whistle, and they did that. I know they kind of took the foot off the gas in the third quarter and went to a little bit of a lull there, but that's when they started doing a lot of substitutions and stuff, and they still drove the field and turned it over on downs deep inside Florida Atlantic territory. But yeah, I'm with you. I think he's starting to feel really good about where this offense is, where Klubnik is, and happy in general overall with what he's seen.
Yeah, except for this shot, in case you have been under a rock the last 24 hours, Dow was saying he didn't go to Win Dixie or Ingles to get a kicker this time. He went to Charleston, South Carolina, and the beaches, and you know, and pulled in Jonathan Lights. I mean, here is a guy that still has eligibility. He found out that he is enrolled at Clemson as a grad student taking virtual classes, and Dad calls him up Sunday and says, "Hey, do you want to come kick for us?" And he said, "Look, I haven't kicked since April. I'll go out, kick a few balls, see if I can still do it, and I'll let you know. Lo and behold, he comes back. He's at practice yesterday, goes 7 for 8, and Dow said today that you know he is likely your starting kicker versus FSU. I mean, this is completely out of left field. Dow isn't touching the transfer portal. Like, he is pulling guys off the beach. So
Yeah, I mean, you know, if there was a move to be made, Clemson needed to make one, you know, because this is a big game and it could very likely come down to a field goal at the end, and you need somebody you can rely on. And so far, that has not been Robert Gunn. It's not like you can go tap into the portal mid-season. Um, Dabo kind of caught a break here, you know, with a guy that has already played for him, still had some eligibility left. I mean, how fortunate were they that he is already enrolled and taking, you know, and you can just call him and bring him back in a day. I mean, you just don't, it doesn't happen every day, man. This is setting up for some, you know, feel good story on Saturday. It feels like, you know, you got Florida State coming to town, and 80% of that press conference today felt like it was spent talking about kickers. We were talking
yeah,
about kickers for half an hour of that 45 minute press conference. It was unreal.
yeah, yeah. And this is not look. Jonathan Rice is no slob. He he was the backup to Potter when he was here. And in fact, he was on track to actually win the job. So he is a guy that understands, what it takes. He's kicked some field. Now, granted, you know, they have, been during garbage time, but the fact that he had the foresight and the willingness to step out of your comfort zone and go, you know what? Let's call him up. I mean, the worst he can say is no, and the best he can say is yes. And lo and behold, he's on campus, and after he finishes his acclimation period, he's going to be good to go on Saturday. So
Yeah.
I
Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say I love those lines. Either going to be a great story or a terrible one.
And you know, again, this is something, you know, if there was a move to be made, I mean, if there was a move to be made, they needed to make one, because Robert Gunn has struggled mightily. What is he, 1 for 4? I mean, he's
Yeah,
just not been able to get it going with his field goals. And why isn't the guy that you're going to run? He's probably not going to be the guy that kicked the 50-yarder for you. But like
no,
Dabo Sweeney said today, they need somebody that can make the layups. You know, they've not had that guy in the first 3 weeks, and it could be something if you that could cost you a game if you need a short chip shot field goal against Florida State. Sarah, you need to have somebody you can rely on. Sounds like Quinn Kastner hasn't been doing well in practice either, so they needed to go, do something outside of the box, and it kind of has the makings of a very neat feel good story that we might see play out on Saturday.
it sure does. I, for like you said, 30 minutes of Florida State's press conference to be spent talking about the kicker shows you just the magnitude of what this means. I Robert Gunn Dow said that he is still going to handle the kickoffs, and honestly, kickers are mental cases, and I think he has shown that in the first 3 weeks. He said that his issue is he's tried hard instead of being able just to relax and go out there and do the job. You know, we mentioned last week the fact that his get off time was slow, that he was always waiting on the uh, ball to be placed down before he started his motion. And so, this is something that I think if you can bring in a guy like Rice who has the experience, who has kicked in front of 80,000, then, you do it. And the question is going to be, how does Robert gonna respond?
You
Because
know,
it, you have your job taken from you 3 weeks into the season. That had to honestly be one of the worst conversations that Dow has had this year. So,
yeah, I think it will be interesting to see how he responds because it is all mental. And if then let's also add in if they need a 45, 50 yarder, it might very well be Gunn they go to because I don't know White's is that guy, and Gunn's got the leg, and supposedly he's been better on the long ones than the shorter ones. So he still might get the call if you need a really long one. But I also want to throw in that Weiss has been around a while, right? Veteran guy.
mm,
He's seen a lot. Maybe he can help Gunn. Come out of this funk. Maybe he can be a mentor to him here for a few weeks, or however the rest of the season or whatever, and help him come through this thing.
yeah, yeah. So that was yeah, that was probably the strangest, Florida State press conference that I have ever listened to. Because, outside of Dow, really, his opening monologue, going through the offense and defense, the FSU rings, and his, uh, appreciation for Mike Norvell and the stuff that he does. I mean, this is solely about a kicker, and we saw it in the Duke game. I mean, right there, you look during warmups, he was missing chip shots, and then he rack up to 48, 49 yards and knocking them through.
That is
However,
absolutely right. He was missing the shorter ones, and the further back they went, the better he got.
yeah, yeah, and the thing is also, you know, if Clemson had missed 2 field goals against Duke, you you never know how that game turns out, because then you aren't getting, you know, I can't remember exactly, but it seems like uh, that both of those missed field goals they converted into touchdowns. So those are 10-point swings right there. So yeah, I think if you're looking for the storyline of this game outside of Clemson, you know, hosting the fourth ranked team in the nation, ACC championship host on the line, you know, national relevance back on the line, you know, all the other storylines, you now have Jonathan Rice coming in as your starting kicker. And I think it said a lot today that Dad, came out and said, look, you know, unless something crazy happens in Orleans, he is starting this game. That is after a single practice, him having not seen him kick in a while, and you're going to go ahead and say, "Hey, this is our guy." I think that shows a supreme lack of confidence in Robert Gunn or extreme confidence in Jonathan White or just pure desperation.
Yeah, I was absolute. I was expecting him to come out and say they had brought Whites out here to compete with Gunn, right? And he comes just flat out and says, "Hey, yeah, he's our starter, man." Then he kind of backs it up and says, "Well, you know, unless I can't remember exactly how he said it, but unless he's not any good during pregame warmups, he says like, he's our starter today, though." No, I was not expecting that, but yeah, I think it's a sign that he knows that they need to go with somebody else that Gunn's struggling mightily right now, and he's not expecting him to come through it anytime soon.
Oh, yeah. Well, let's go ahead and.
Now's the
Hey,
time to get one.
yes, sir, yes, sir. You can. I'm sure with the NIL stuff, you can go and get his name thrown on that 2-1 jersey, and you'll be set. Looking ahead though to this FSU game, seeing here on Tuesday, you know, give me your gut thoughts on how you see this game playing out.
Yeah, I'm with you there now. Have been asked about 5 times in the past 24 hours my prediction for the game, and I say I got about 3 more nights I can sleep on it, and I'm going to take every one of them. I'll say this: I think I think this is going to be a ginormous test for Clemson's pass defense. I think it's much improved based on what we have seen during the first 3 weeks. I feel good about Nate Wiggins, no matter who he's covering. I feel good about Nate Wiggins being able to, pretty much lock his guy down. The other side of the field, we'll see. I'm still, I don't have the same kind of confidence in Sheridan Jones. I love Jaden Lucas as a prospect, but he's still young. He's still a little inexperienced and green. He's not played a whole lot yet. And Florida State's got some dynamic playmakers at wide receiver. Keon Coleman, Johnny Wilson, 6'7". And let's not forget Jaheim Bell, the former South Carolina Gamecock, who's at tight end now. I mean, those are some dangerous weapons that Jordan Travis has to throw to. So if Clemson's pass defense is as much improved as it looks to be, I think Clemson can absolutely pull this thing off and beat this Florida State team, who I'm still, saying we need to pump the brakes on proclaiming them a top 5 or a playoff team or whatever. Still want to see more, man, because especially after what we saw last week. And if they can get Klubnik and going into running game a little bit, use him and his legs to kind of soften that defense up, open up some running lanes and some passing lanes. I like Clemson's chances. I like you touched on earlier. Boston College exposed some weaknesses in that Florida State defense. I'm not convinced that secondary is all that great going back to the LSU game. The question is Clemson's wide receivers good enough to take advantage of it? That I think that's a question that's yet to be answered.
Yeah, yeah, I see this game going. Basically, I could see, Florida State coming in here and doing what they did in 2013 and absolutely blowing the doors off Clemson. I could see Florida State winning in a close one. I could see Clemson winning a close one. I could see Clemson, making a statement. So I think I cover all the bases there.
I, I kind of feel the same way, man. It would not shock me if Florida State came in here and blowed Clemson's doors off. I wouldn't be shocked. I might be a little surprised, but I wouldn't be shocked.
Mm-hmm.
Wouldn't shock me if Florida State won a close one. Wouldn't surprise me if Clemson won a close one. And it would not shock me if we saw Clemson, toe drag them on Saturday, like you said, to make a statement. And I could see it playing out a number of different ways, and it would not shock me in any way,
Yeah.
which is what makes college football so fun.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is the week that everyone has circled on their collective calendars all year long. Not just the Clemson FSU game. However, there are seven, I think, ranked unranked games this week. You're starting to get kind of into the uh, meat of the season where the Alabama's playing the southern South Dakota states, and you know all these teams playing the directional schools. Central Michigan, Southwestern Michigan, all that stuff is going out the window. You're going to start seeing more conference games or ranked teams, and that is the recipe for chaos, and I love it. I think this week if Clemson can win, there is uh, there's the potential for them to jump very high in the polls just because of the way that the schedule is playing out for other teams. You have Colorado going to Oregon, and honestly, I think Oregon curves stops Deion Sanders in Colorado. I think Colorado, how lucky were they to get out of that Colorado State game that they win? And I just think there's so much football to be played that if Clemson can get it done Saturday, they're right back in that CFP top.
Yeah, absolutely. And another thing you touched on earlier, if they were to lose, they're out of the ACC race, man. You're not going to Charlotte this year with two losses. Not
No,
not not since they've gone divisionless. You can't start 0-2 in league play and expect to make it to Charlotte. It's just not going to happen. There is so much on the line with this game. ACC implications, college football playoff implications, and again, I think national reputation implications because so many teams have this program, on a downward trajectory. And this is a way to put a stop to some of that talk, or at least slow it down.
yeah. Alex Gibson says it's going to be loud Saturday, louder than we've heard in a while. I hope so. I mean, obviously, you know, Dowd hinted at this in his Collins show where he said, look, I know that the fans don't like these noon games, that they aren't their favorite time slot, but, you need to be there early. You need to make sure that you're well lubricated and you come into the valley and get right ready to have an impact. He mentioned that again today. And he said they need their 12th man. Florida State is not ringing the marching chiefs, thank God. And you know, this is the game of the year so far in the ACC, and so if you're going to the game, you have got to make sure that you are having influence on it. I mean, Florida State has had pre-snap issues with false starts, even at or Boston College last week. There were pre-snap issues, so I agree with Alex. I mean, the Valley needs to be rocking come Saturday. And look, it needs to start from the second those gates open at 10 o'clock and go all the way through the fourth quarter.
I'll tell you another reason why they needed to be loud and raucous. Jordan Travis has proved to be a guy that can be rattled. If you can get pressure on him and affect him and not let him get comfortable, he is a guy who can be rattled. And I think the crowd can have contribute to that. So Clemson needs that crowd. I was kind of surprised to hear today at the end of that press conference that there were still some tickets left. That it wasn't totally sold out. That surprised me a little bit. I know fans hate the noon game, but they do. They need those stands packed Saturday.
Yeah, well, in Clemson's defense, I will say that my sources told me that those were tickets returned from FSU. So,
That explains it. Yeah, I didn't even think about that.
yeah,
For the band not coming.
yeah.
Yeah, we're not sending the band. You can have these tickets back.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, this week really is, you know, the week in college football. So, yeah, the thing though that I think Clemson is going to have to do is they have to find a way to get Jake Rain still involved in the game. He has, uh, he's probably been the biggest disappointment so far this season. And you look at all the hype and all the talk surrounding him, you know, his lack of production has really been quite surprising.
It absolutely has. He has been the biggest surprise so far, or disappointment, as you said. Add Adam Randall in there too for me. I was expecting a lot more from both of those guys, but Brenny Stool, with this offense and what we've seen with Garrett Riley offenses in the past, you expect the tight end to be a big part of the plan, to be a
Yeah,
major contributor.
yeah,
And
it's a tailor-made offense.
yeah, we have not seen it. That part of that might lie with Brenny Stool because I don't think I never have gone back and watched the Florida Atlantic game, so I didn't really key in on what he was doing Saturday. But those first two games, he did not play well. So he's got to at least shoulder some of the blame here. I don't think it's just them not targeting him. He's got to be better with his route running. He's got to be better with his blocking. He's got to be better. Period. They need him. If he's at his best, he is a matchup problem, big time for any opponent. Florida State or Florida Atlantic. They need him involved this weekend, especially.
Yeah. Also, Tyler Brown is the guy that continues to make strides. He continues just to get his name out there. Coaches every single time they're asked about him, they smile and just say, he is a special kid. In fact, not sure I've heard this much hype around a true freshman since do you go back to a Sammy?
Yeah, it's been a while since there's been this kind of production at wide receiver from a true freshman. And you know, people talking about he needs to be on the field more. He played more snaps than any wide receiver did Saturday. He had the highest snap count out of all of them. So he's on the field. He might not be run out there first so far, but he is on the field a lot. And he's on, or he was this past Saturday. So he's, you know, each week that snap count's going up. I mean, it went up drastically this week. Again, he had more snaps than Bo. He had more snaps than Adam Randall and even Antonio Williams, although Antonio came off for a little bit hurt. So he's on the field, and I think you're going to start seeing a lot more of him. I think you're going to see him in the slot. Antonio moved outside some. I think you're going to see them on the field at the same time more than I'm not sure we have yet. If we have, it hasn't been a lot. I think that's something that we're going to start seeing as we move forward, especially now that Cole Turner's hurt.
Yeah, I was just about to say that. With Cole Turner being hurt, he took Adam Randall's starting job. And honestly, Randall hasn't done a thing in my eyes to warrant getting that starting spot. So I think you're going to see Antonio Williams move out and take over that starting job. And honestly, it wouldn't surprise me at all to see, uh, Tyler Brown get into that slot role. I will say this: Troy Stallo's name continues to come up a ton too. He is finally healthy. He is finally able to contribute, and Dad just keeps praising him and saying that there is going to come a game where you're like, all right, hang on, Troy Stallo still plays for Clemson because he's going to have one of those games. Now, could that happen this week? Maybe. I think this receiving core outside the injury to Turner is really, they're in a great spot.
Yeah, I think, talking about being a benefactor of Cole Turner's injury, I think that's Troy Stellato. I think that's going to help him see the field a lot more, give him a lot more opportunities than maybe he otherwise would have this weekend. And he has absolutely produced in his limited opportunities so far, because he's kind of come in trash time the past two games. That might change this week with no Cole Turner and Adam Randall, being fairly well, let's just put it bluntly, unproductive outside of that one catch where he was wide open. He didn't have to do anything but turn around and catch the ball. Other than that, he's just not done. He's not done much anything at all. And you got to have somebody that can go in there and make plays. And Randall's not done that yet. I think Stallato's shown he can do it. We all know Tyler Brown can do it. You know what you got in Antonio. And you got to put the guys that are going to make plays out there. And so far, Randall's not making them.
No, he is not. Laces out, Dan. Laces out. Finkel is Einhorn. Einhorn is Finkel. Yeah, I think that this receiving core, and honestly, the way that Garrett Riley's offensive scheme is very easy to move guys around. It's nothing like Chad Morris's offense, or you had guys that could really only play the 5-9 or 2, your X and Y guys, or I'm sorry, X and Z guys are, they are interchangeable. So, I think that the Tigers are feeling, as good as they can, you know, after Coulter's injury.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think Garrett Riley's offense makes it much easier on what it's a much easier system on for the wide receivers. You're not just stuck playing the boundary or stuck playing the field as it was in the old offense. And this offense schemes guys open. It doesn't. You don't have to be a burner. You don't. Riley's capable of scheming some of these guys open when they're struggling to create some separation. That's one advantage of this offense is he knows how to scheme guys open, and we've seen it the past 2 weeks.
Yeah, yeah, and I feel like we need to praise the K Clinic because after the last couple of games, we said that he was getting happy feet and retreating into the freshness of stepping up and finding the guys down the field. I saw a different Klubnik against FAU than I had seen the first 2 games. He stepped up into the pocket, and that allowed him to see the field. He was able to take off and run, and I think you're seeing a a guy that is slowly maturing, and the game is slowly slowing down for him. Now, this week is obviously their biggest test yet, but I really liked what I saw him against FAU, and just his awareness.
Yeah, I thought he took a big step this weekend. I thought he looked like the guy that we were expecting to start the season. He wasn't locking on to receivers. He was scanning the field. He was not getting the happy feet like you talked about a minute ago. He was stepping into the pocket. He wasn't drifting back 5, 10 yards and making the offensive line look like it was playing worse than it was. This is going to be this is going to be a big test for him because that Florida State's got some guys that can get after the quarterback. Big test for this offensive line. Jarrett Verse is a monster, man. He's one of the best pass rushers in the country. It's got to be a big test. I'm kind of anxious to see what he does with it. Again, I think he's the X factor, man. He's got to carry the ball 10, 15 times. I think if Clemson's going to win, and he's got to rush for minimum 50 yards, maybe as much as 75. They need his legs.
Yeah, I mean, John gets into Shipley and Alpha can join the wide receiver car more than they have. Neither has a dozen catches yet. Yeah, I think you are. This is something that just personal opinion. I feel like Garrett Riley has been saving some of this stuff for this game or in future games. I think you're going to see Shipley get a chance, in the passing game or in these coming weeks. However, you know, Rafa isn't really the guy that I would trust as much, to catch the ball. If you're going to trust one of these two guys, I think it has to be Shipley. And we have seen some of those two back sets where Shipley will, motion out to a slot or outside receiver. And however, none of those motions have resulted in passes. They have all been straight gives to Alpha.
Yeah, I don't think Moffa's kind of that guy either, and Shipley's not shown to have the best of hands either. I kind of saw enough of those little dump passes to Shipley there in Durham. He was targeted 7 or 8 times, had 6 carries and only 6 catches and averaged about 5 yards of reception. Yeah, I'm fine with using him some, but I don't think he should be a major weapon in the passing game. Man, I think you got guys on the outside that are capable of making plays. I don't think you should have to rely on Shipley. I'm not saying never throwing the ball. I'm just saying he shouldn't be one of the focal points in the passing game. To me, his hands are a liability. He starts to run with the ball before he brings it in. Sometimes drops it in crucial moments. So do some of them other receivers though. So it's hard to knock him for that and not the other guys. But I'd rather see him pushing the ball down the field than relying heavily on the screen game. I mean, we saw that in Durham. That to me, that's what we saw in Durham. Dump pass after dump pass after dump pass, and they weren't all to Shipley, but I saw enough of that night.
I completely agree. You know what? I can't. That I was so excited could happen again is this. I look. I think this is a clear case of targeting. You see here, Jason is clearly defenseless. He 10 launches himself into Jason, and I think this is clearly targeting. Your thought?
Yeah, I think the refs missed this one big time, man. I was absolutely defenseless. Never saw it coming until he was right up on me because I was staring at DJ Uyunglele because he had thrown the ball 10 yards out of bounds. I couldn't imagine a DB going for it, so I wasn't even paying attention anymore. And I turned my head and I took out one of the other media guys with me right behind me, man. I kind of felt bad for that. And knew I was on television and popped right back up. I knew I was on television. I just could feel it.
Yeah, yes, sir. That is why we have now taken Jason from the sidelines and moved him to the
Yeah, he's
to
going to have to climb some.
the
One of those DBs going to have to climb some steps to get to me this weekend.
Yeah. So obviously we are just Tuesday, just finished up. Yeah, there's still a lot of stuff to cover with this game. I if you were to ask me after the Duke game and after the Florida State LSU game, you know, my thoughts, I would have said Clemson is going to get run. It's not even going to be close. However, I think you're starting to see the saying is, things always trend toward the median. And I think you're starting to see that with both of these teams. I think FSU was not as good as, or is not as good as they showed against LSU. And Clemson is clearly not as bad a team as they looked like against Duke. So, for me, it's going to which one of these teams can show up and actually just simply be themselves.
Yeah, if you'd have asked me at halftime of the Charleston Southern game, I'd have told you Florida State was going to come in here and blow their doors off. So we see an eye to eye there, but Yeah, I think Clemson's rebounded and played much better since the first half or the early part of that Charleston Southern game. Starting right after halftime, that third quarter of that game, and it carried over to this week against Florida Atlantic. You know, you got to like what you've seen out of the offense. It's got to have you feeling. If you're a Clemson fan, you have to be feeling a lot better now than you did 2 weeks ago. You know you got a chance. There's talent on this team as much as there is on that Florida State team. I know that's not always the narrative the national media likes to portray, but if you go and just look at it from a sheer talent perspective, Clemson's got one of the five most talented teams in the country. Maybe not quite as experienced as those guys on that Florida State team because a lot of them came through the portal and they're older guys, but from a sheer talent level, Clemson's got it, and you got to feel good about the way this offense has been playing over the past, 6 quarters or so.
Yeah. Yeah, and honestly, because of the fact that FSU, has so many transfer guys, I am anxious to see if Clemson can get off to a fast start and kind of, control the game early. How will they respond? Will they fold or will they fight back? Because, that's the one thing that we questioned all season is, how is this FSU team going to handle adversity? And so I think, if Clemson can come early, make a statement, take a lead, and really, you know, put FSU behind the eight ball, I think, you're going to learn a lot about that team.
Look, I think we're already starting to see some frustration, at least with one of those big time transfer acquisitions. Keon Coleman was targeted 3 times in that win over Boston College, and he took straight to Twitter to voice his displeasure about it. It was a cryptic tweet, but it was pretty obvious what he was tweeting. It was just a tweet with 3 footballs, symbolizing his 3 measly targets. So he's already a little frustrated. They come in here and get down, it's going to, especially if they get down a couple scores early. I'm with you. It's going to be extremely interesting to see how they respond.
Yeah, it is. Well, this is just the start of FSU week. We have so much more great stuff in store for you guys coming up tomorrow night, Thursday night, 7 o'clock. Jason and I will be right here to talk all things Clemson FSU. Then Friday at 4:30, we'll be at Magnetic South and Anderson. We'll have so much swag to give away. Come out and say hey. Jason is making the trek up for the first time. And we just want y'all to enjoy these shows and we honestly, I think I speak for Jason when I say, you guys, the fans, the people that comment and join the show, y'all make it, what it is. And we are just here to talk about Clemson sports and give y'all the insight. You can also check out allclemsontires.com for all your Clemson sports needs. Death Valley Domain is our new site.
Big recruiting weekend coming up. Big recruiting weekend coming up for the 2024 class, offensive lineman, for the 2025 class. Told y'all last week, top player in the state, Amari Adams, was going to be here. And I'll later in the week, I'll tell you who else is going to be here.
I like it. In fact, a couple hours ago, we just dropped a tiger tracker story into Death Valley domain. So go over there, join it. Alright, it's dirt cheap, $4.99 a month. You know, the reason that it's so cheap has nothing to do with the quality of work. It's just we wanted to make it affordable for you, the fan, to get this insider information. Actually, you know, uh, last week on the Inside the Valleys, uh, Jason had a recruiting nugget there, and Brad Sinkoff actually broke the fact that Andrew McCool was not going to play.
That's actually when I dropped. That's where I dropped the Amari Adams news. That's how far. That's it was off. I dropped that on Friday.
Absolutely. Listen, do us a favor if you haven't already. Like and subscribe on YouTube. It helps the algorithm get this stuff out to more people. And oh, hang on. Before we go anywhere, we almost missed our favorite segment of the day. So let's give it. Alright, so is there anything that you would like to share as we close, Jason?
You know what? I've not experienced any major setbacks since the last time we were here. I had to took my dog back to the vet yesterday, and she's doing great. And no cars have torn up. I've not found any water on the floor or anything like that. Knock on wood, brother. Knock
I
on
heard,
something.
I heard that. Well, hopefully tomorrow you can share.
It won't be long. It's coming. It's coming. Make no mistake.
Alright, so we will see everyone back here tomorrow night at 7 o'clock. Thank you all for joining us, everyone that was in the chat and viewed online. It means so much to us that y'all are a part of our show. So for Jason and Zach, y'all have a great night, and we are just 4 days away.